the moral of the story was the first day he had to believe in it. The second day, there was little belief in it. It was tangible in his hand. And you and I need to believe in Judgment Day. You and I need to believe in the unseen, the future. And of course, the unseen of the unseen is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you take it to a higher stage of understanding within our prophetic and Imami mission, you will find the ghaiba of our living Imam is within that same principle, that Allah put him in hiding precisely to ignite this character of trials upon us, to make us realize that is there a function for a living Imam who is in a state of hidden position, meaning in occultation? Is there a function? And many people have a difficult time understanding this idea of a hidden Imam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'll talk about the ghaiba of Imam Sahib al-Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajak, inshallah, in the next few nights to understand the principles. But right now, let's understand that Allah created us out of His mercy. He is testing us and He's given us the ability to go astray. He's given us the capacity to be incredibly good and to be relatively infallible. We can become, in fact, we are, human beings are generally relatively infallible in many things. We can murder. Majority of the world doesn't do that. I know people who've never lied on this earth. They don't lie. They refuse to lie. Technically, on the issue of lying, they're infallible. There are levels of infallibility, of course. Our prophets and imams are of the highest level of infallibility, but humans also practice that. But Allah, when He mentions this ayah, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها, we don't put a burden on you except that which you can handle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling me that based on your knowledge, I will hold you liable. Based on your ability to acquire knowledge, I will hold you liable. Based on your struggles to get to know, I will hold you liable. Otherwise, I don't hold you liable. How do we know that? I'll just touch it today. I'll go deeper into this some other nights. The story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr in Surah Al-Kahf. As you know, Allah says to Musa, go, you're going to meet somebody who's going to show you things. Go. And Musa alayhi salam meets him. And Khidr says to him, you won't be able to bear it. What I will do, you can't bear it. You won't be able to understand it. Musa says, he says, "Satajidni inshallah min as-sabirin." I will be among the patient ones. As they are going, as you know, Khidr first, sinks a boat and says, "What did you just do?" He said, "Lan tastati'a ma'iya sabra." Didn't I tell you you can't practice patience? Now the gist of this moral story is that he does three things, major ones, the Quran mentions. One is this. Second is that he kills a young child. Number three, he builds a wall reinforcing the wealth of orphans. Never did Musa apologize to Khidr. There is nowhere in the Quran where Musa alayhi salam apologizes to Khidr. In fact, Musa says to him, don't hold me liable. Don't hold me liable. He doesn't apologize. Because he's saying to him that the taklif God has given me is based on my understanding. And if you sink a boat that is perfectly functional, my fitra, my understanding tells me it's wrong. When you kill a child, my fitra tells me it's wrong. You see? When you come to a community that is very harsh to you, and they want to kick you out, and you want to fix something, my essence tells me that maybe you don't have to do this. It's not wrong. So notice Musa alayhi salam is saying to Khidr, don't hold me liable. Your knowledge is greater. Allah has given you access on a greater scale. But the taklif of mine is to understand what you're saying based on my capacity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold us liable based on our struggles. You see? So Allah has given us sight and hearing, but it's logical for you and I to struggle to increase the knowledge, which is why Allah says in the Quran to the Prophet, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, my Lord, increase my knowledge. Increase my knowledge. And Allah says, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. He gives wisdom to who He wills. And whoever He has given wisdom to, He has given them much good. These are things you and I have to aim for in this trial. In this month of Ramadan, Allah revealed the Quran, a brief introduction to the Quran. Because the Quran enables us to understand the unseen. It strengthens our intellect to be able to reflect and understand the past, the values of the present, and the future. In order to be secure that when we make decisions, calculated risk decisions, while we live, they are predicated on a very clear understanding of how the Quran has enhanced our thinking to become better decision makers and to secure our dunya wal akhirah. That's why the Quran says, إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا. This Quran guides you to that which is most upright and give good news to the believers who act on it, that they shall have a great reward, a paradise. So Allah is saying the Quran is a book of guidance. Let me introduce the Quran briefly for us to understand that when we have this desire of our souls to reach from Ammara to Lawwama to Mutma'inna, we have to indulge in acquisition of knowledge. There is no way to fulfill when Allah swears by the self-accusing soul, La uqsimu bin nafs al-lawwama. You and I cannot reach the stage of nafs al-lawwama unless we're vigilant with our eyes and our ears and our hearts and our minds and watching and studying and thinking and reflecting. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض. If you and I do not reflect, as I mentioned yesterday, if we do not sit around our tables and talk and discuss and enable children and adults to question and to get into debates with civility, we will not progress. When I see intelligent people who are very successful, I monitor them and I notice that they have a habit or they have developed a habit by which to sit and read and reflect. And by the way, reading, you, my young brothers especially and sisters, always read. Read as much as you can. If there is one thing that enhances the frontal lobe and makes the intelligence sharper, reading. In the Quran, elegantly, the first command Allah gives is, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Recite, read in the name of your Lord who creates. Reading. Quran is a book to be read. Unlike any other book in the world, there is no book that tells me my existence, my purpose, my past, my present, my future, and the one that consoles me when I'm in a state of trepidation, when I'm in a state of anxiety. You will find that there is no book. Allah says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It's an elixir. It's a dawa, as they say. It's medication. It's calming. When we read it, you might think, oh, this guy is reading Quran. No. I know the kids, mashallah, have a lot of energy there. Thank you. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If we have, when we read the Quran and we reflect, we're probably thinking, wait. There are those who read, who are huffaz of Quran, but they killed Ahlul Bayt. You know, Umar ibn As, Umar ibn Sa'ad. These were people who knew the Quran very well. They were the ones who butchered the family of the Prophet. What about that? Does it make sense? Well, there are people out there who learn the knowledge of Allah to abuse it. There are educated doctors and doctorates who use it to abuse. But that's a minority. Shaitan is like that. And Allah will punish them. But let's not generalize. Nobody can argue that knowing the Quran is a wrong thing. And what's a miracle of the Quran? Think about it.